Hey everyone, it's Graeme, and you're here for another BC blog update. It is now 2 days until tee-off time here, and I leave for British Columbia. Getting really excited, mostly because I feel relaxed and happy and ready. I don't feel stressed really at all. And one of the reasons for that is that if you watch my first video for my blog, I had a goal of trying to drop about 8 to 10 pounds. And the reason for doing that is not just so I can be lighter and leaner and have videos for you, but because with 7 days of extreme mountain biking, any additional weight off without a sacrifice in performance is a major plus. It makes everything easier, I'm not going to lie. And today what I want to do for you is kind of bullet point by bullet point go over things that I did and things that I recommend trying to avoid if you're also trying to lose weight in a not just a time-effective way, but a way that actually garners you performance on the bike. My real secret here, the real purpose of any of these videos or anything that I produce is keeping the end game in mind. I think all too often us cyclists get so focused on specific things like weight loss that we forget our end game of wanting to improve our enjoyment and our performance on the bike. So I've been one of those riders before, and maybe you have as well, or you know cyclists that have, they get fixated with getting to a specific goal weight or dropping pounds, but at the expense of how well they're riding. I know for me, I'd rather be riding strong than riding light, because if I'm riding light and I'm not riding strong, I haven't really garnered any benefit, any value. So keep that in mind, and I kept that at the forefront of my particular goals, was my strength to weight ratio. Now I know a lot of you might not consider strength to weight ratio because you're not a racer or because you're new to cycling or I'm just out to go ride with my group ride. What does strength to weight ratio really have in store, or why does it have value for you? Let me tell you. When you can improve your strength to weight ratio over the course of several weeks or several months using proper training and nutrition, some discipline, the benefits for you on the bike are immense, and every small decimal place of improvement in your strength to weight ratio can make for a big deal for you on the bike. Let me give you an example. When I started my overall training schematic for BCBR, for BC Bike Race, that started in about January, February. February was when I made the goal concrete, committed that I was going to go. At that time, I was about 178 pounds, 180, which is about my natural set point. That means every one of us has a natural tendency to be at a specific weight once we're an adult, like it or not. And to get below that weight takes some coercing, it takes some trickery, it takes some nudging, if you will, to get your body to shift into a state of weight loss or body fat loss. At that time of 178 pounds, I was hovering around 290 to 300 watts on my functional threshold power test. And I know many of you that are using my Cyclo-90 programs or training with me, we know how important that zone 4 threshold is. And the reason why it's important is that critical number that tells us overall how we're improving our proficiency on the bike. And ideally, we want that number to go up. Okay, Cyclo-90, my base program, is what I was using at that time. And the objective of doing that was not to really lose weight, but to begin to build a base structure of strength that would carry me through all the way to today and beyond, to make sure I can get lighter, but also increase or maintain my functional threshold power. So at that time, my strength to weight ratio was 3.7. That means my weight in kilograms, about 81 kilograms at that time, divided into 300 watts. So that's how much weight I can push for how long. And that's going to be my strength to weight ratio. And the higher that number is, the more value it has to you as a cyclist. Now, let's fast forward to today. 4 days in a row now, I've been hovering at about 162 down to 160 pounds this morning. 160. It's down from 178 back in February. That's an 18-pound drop. And actually, since I started this blog, it's about a 9-pound drop, 10-pound drop, just like I was aiming for. 172 pounds down to 160, so actually a little bit above my goal. More than likely when I hit BC, I'll be back up to about 162 is my guesstimate. Now, what's important here, pay attention, and what's important for you is that not only have I dropped that weight, but more importantly, I've increased my functional threshold power, which is now hovering about 328 watts, give or take. I actually think it's higher than that now. Last time I did a test was about 4 weeks ago. I think I'm up closer to 335. Let's just say that it's at 328 watts. My strength-to-weight ratio went from a 3.7 to a 4.5. Now, what does that mean for you? Regardless of the number, when you see an increase in that ratio, every time you hit a hill, the same effort you're applying makes you go faster. So if you're going up a hill at zone 4, right, and you're getting your heart rate up to 161 beats per minute, let's say that's your zone 4, you're going to be probably going up that hill half mile to a mile per hour faster because you've maintained that strength and dropped the extra weight. Are you following me? The more weight you drop, the more strength you gain, the better that ratio gets in favor of you. Now, whether you're doing centuries, road races, mountain bike races, 7-day stage races like I'm headed to, that is the end game. So if I just came into BC with, 161 pounds, that's great. But if my strength dropped along with it, let's just say that my strength stayed at 300 watts, that would mean that I went from a 3.7 to maybe a 3.9. Now that gain is negligible, basically almost no difference, simply because I didn't stay focused on the end game. And that's the real value here that I want you to focus on. It's not just how light we can get you, but how much strength we can build and or maintain. And ideally, in an ideal world, we want to do both. We want to lose weight and gain strength. I'll be honest with you, unless you're using a pre-designed training system that will balance you out over time, you're not going to be able to do that. And I see cyclists trying to do this all the time. They go into starvation mode, they start to restrict calories, they start to overtrain in the pursuit of dropping weight only. And although they're going to drop some weight, that may be you, they're going to see a drop in performance as well. And when they get out on the bike, they're going to say, hey, I'm 8 pounds lighter, but I'm not riding any faster. I'm not riding any stronger. I still got dropped off the group ride today. What happened? You missed the end game. The end game here is you got to maintain or build the strength along with the weight loss. Now, that was a bit of a long video. I'm already at 7 minutes, but trust me, you want to stay with me for the second half of this video, okay? Because I'm going to share with you step by step here exactly how I did it. And yes, I'm going to mention my own programs, because my programs have not only helped me, but it's helped tens of thousands of you achieve very similar, if not better results than I've just gotten. So I'm going to give you step by step exactly what I did as quickly as I can. Are you ready? Starting in February, I went into Cyclo-90 Base, which I recommend for any of you, whether it's the off-season or in-season. If you haven't used my programs before, Cyclo-90 Base is what you want to use. The reason why is simple. It's a guaranteed improvement of at least 15% of your FTP. So if your functional threshold power is at 200 watts right now, I'll get you to 230 watts in 90 days or less. And again, if you keep your focus on the end game, that 30 or 40 watt jump or more in functional threshold power means that once you start to whittle your body down in weight, you're going to see a monumental shift in how fast you ride. I use Cyclo-90 Base, focused primarily on strength, technique, and power. I didn't worry too much about weight loss at that time. Not necessary. It's the strength and gains in power that's important. And you want to think about it like laying a foundation to a home. If you don't get that rock solid and strong, then I don't care what you're trying to build a home with for material, it's going to fall apart. So you've got to build that base as strong as you can and just have faith that by doing that, your body's going to be more primed to drop more weight and gain more performance down the road. You've got to have the patience to lay the framework correctly. We clear? Now, after that was done, I moved into Cyclo-90 in-season. Now, for you, those of you that have the Cyclo-90 in-season, you know I have both a road and a mountain bike version, beginner to advanced level, included in the same kit. So if you're thinking about getting it, I've got you covered for any goal you've got, whether it's road racing, mountain bike racing, enduros, centuries, climbing events, multi-day events. One package, multiple plans, all designed to basically build and peak you over time. So we're going to take what we did with the base and we're going to advance it forward. For me, I focused on, particularly since I'm doing a mountain bike specific event, I started with the XC plan, the racing plan. And one of the reasons for doing that coming out of the base is to improve my overall zone 4 and zone 5. I always work on the high end first, polar opposite of what every other coach or expert recommends. I say get your body as strong as quickly as possible, solidify that strength, and then begin to layer in the endurance portion. Most people put the endurance first and then are struggling to gain the high-end strength after. And that's the backwards way to do it. It's the wrong way, flat out. You ask any customer of mine that does it with my method of strength first and then endurance, you're going to see a huge improvement in overall, not just endurance, but the ability to repetitively throw out harder efforts over longer rides. Again, keep the end game in mind. If you want to train yourself to ride slow for 100 miles, that's easy to do. Just go out and ride your bike as slow as you can for as long as you can. The old school method. If you want to ride 100 miles stronger and faster and not hit walls and not hit bonks and not, see depletion in your performance, then you need to reverse the sequence and put the strength first and then the endurance after. We clear on that? Now, some of the priorities for my training during the Cyclo 90 in-season, after I did the XC, I went to the climbing plan, and then I just finished the mountain bike endurance plan, or the enduro plan. And again, I've got the version for road specific as well. And by the way, I used half of my rides, or more actually, were on my road bike. Half of them were on my mountain bike. I've had a lot of people asking me, why was I doing that for a mountain bike event? Well, let me tell you. Trying to go out on my mountain bike, 4 or 5 days a week into single track is not a constructive way to build overall fitness. Even though that's the end game, I only need about 2 or 3 mountain bike days per week. Anything more than that, and it's just too much damage on my body. It's too much demand. The road bike gives us an opportunity as mountain bikers to build specific fitness, muscular endurance, technique work, endurance training, without constantly have to worry about getting in a single track, okay? Keep that in mind as a mountain biker. You don't always have to be on your mountain bike to build your fitness or get to your end game. As long as the workouts have priority and focus, you're going to get a great result. Now, during the weeks of my endurance plan, and I actually did 2 rounds of the endurance plan. I'm finished with it now. I'm all wrapped up and ready to go. During those weeks, I got a couple quick tips for you. Obviously, I had more long rides, okay, as the endurance plan or any of my in-season plans. You're going to have long rides in all of the plans, whether you're doing the racing plan, the climbing plan, the endurance plan, the road, the mountain bike, doesn't matter. You're going to have the opportunity for longer rides. I think a lot of you think that my programs are all about being stuck inside on your trainer and indoor workouts. No freaking way. I've got you out on your bike quite a bit, but how I sequence the workouts, that's the secret. People still haven't quite figured that out, but the reason my programs are doing so well for myself and for everyone else is that it's how I sequence and layer the high intensity, the moderate intensity, the endurance, the auxiliary, and the recovery over a period of time. That's what creates the results. It's not just any one workout. It's not just any one Strava KOM. It's not just any one sprint or any one hill climb. No, it's the culmination over time that creates the layers of strength and the improvement in your overall metabolism. And that's the other thing that I want to mention to you, is that although I had a couple long rides per week, I'd say on average 2, maximum of 3+ hour rides per week. I know a lot of you can't do that. Don't worry. I built the system where even less time can create more value. How do we do that? We do that with the high-intensity trainer sessions. We do that with the shorter in-ride workouts listed in the in-season plans that get you out on your bike and above or at your threshold and doing complex intervals, if you will, 2, maybe even up to 3 times per week if you're advanced. And it's those high-intensity trainer sessions that spike up your metabolism. So it's not just about how many calories you burn in your ride, but how you stimulate your metabolism to continue to burn more body fat as you progress. And this is where a lot of you tend to make mistakes, is that you become so addicted to the mileage to lose weight that you forget that the metabolism, your metabolism, is really what dictates how strong you're getting on the bicycle, how lean you're getting, how much body fat you're reducing as opposed to just reducing lean body tissue. And a lot of you that are doing starvation techniques or too many miles, or 6 days per week, 7 days per week of mile after mile after mile, you're seeing a depletion of your lean body tissue, and as a result, you're slowing down your metabolism. So although initially you're going to get lighter on the scale, over time, I guarantee it, you're going to start to see an accumulation of body fat, number 1, which is not what you want. You see a stagnation in your weight loss, number 2, and more importantly, you're going to see a drop-off in your performance, number 3. So basically what you're going to become is a lighter, lankier, weaker version of your current self. Does that sound appealing to you as opposed to being a stronger, more solid person, but at a lighter body weight? Which one would you prefer? I'm assuming you want option number 2. Other big thing that is going to sound like a pitch because this is what I do for a living, but it's not a pitch, it's reality. You need to get off the bike and do other stuff. If you think, I know that the bike is such a lure. I'm just watching my time here. Sorry it's a little bit long, but it's totally worth it, I promise. I know that the bike is such a lure to lose weight. You get on the bike, you go out for a 4-hour ride, you come back, you're 3 pounds lighter. This is freaking great. I'm just going to keep on riding my bike as much as I can. People are waking up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning so they can go get a long ride in before they go to work. Don't think I don't know who you are. Don't think I haven't been riding my bike for 28 years. I get it. I know. All right? Now, one of the things that you can do to expedite more body fat loss and maintain or gain strength is to get off the bike and do a couple sessions per week, about 15 to 30 minutes a pop, of functional cycling-specific training. Now, this is what I'm famous for. This is what I got into the market with back in 2004. The original cyclo-core training, now my Core 2.0 training, my cyclo-90 training, my cyclo-90 in-season, and my newly released cyclo-iron training, my kettlebell training. Why are these workouts so important? Because they're going to attack the areas that the bike forces you to get weak on. I know the bike can make you strong. I know it can make you lean. I know it can help you lose weight. But the bike does have limitations, and it does have weaknesses in relation to your fitness and performance. If you only use the bike as the tool to get stronger and preserve lean body tissue and raise your metabolism, you are missing 20-30% gains in results. This is why so many of you that just get on my programs in the first week or two are blown away with how much stronger you are. It's simply because I got you off the bike and doing cyclo-core and cyclo-iron training. Now, for me, what I've been doing for the past 8 weeks is substituting in the cyclo-90 in-season program. I have included in there the Core 2.0 workouts, which are great workouts. But those are also included in the base program as well. And by in-season, I want something a little bit more powerful, more explosive, and quicker. I don't want a lot of time spent on my core, my back, and my functional strength, but I do need it to be effective. And that's where the cyclo-iron workouts come into play. So if you haven't moved in the cyclo-iron workouts, it's real simple. Pick any of the 4 levels. They're 15 minutes apiece. All you need is a kettlebell or a dumbbell, just one of them, and you are getting stronger 1 time per week. I know it sounds too good to be true, but anyone that's done these workouts, and I've got thousands of you that have already got them, they work, and they work great. And this is one of the reasons why my threshold, my FTP, went from 300 to 330 plus, is because I was doing the off-the-bike cyclo-iron workouts. When you get back on the bike, I promise you, if you can't feel results the second you get back on that bike after doing a cyclo-iron workout or a cyclo-core workout, I'll give you back every penny you spent on me. I guarantee if you give me the 15 or 20 minutes per week, that's all I'm asking, in the program, you're going to see a monumental difference. If you use that with the cyclo-90 programs, with the in-ride workouts, the techniques, the drills, the hit sessions, now you're on a whole different playing field. You're going to get results times 10. Because now you're allowing me to help you maximize the training and maximize your weight loss. Let's talk really quickly. We just talked about the training and all that stuff. Again, I'm at 18 minutes, so I hope you're still with me. I'm going to try to make this last part even more worth your while because I've got some secrets at the very end. The kind of little kickers that really got my weight loss to speed up quick. Let's talk about really quickly the nutrition. During the base phase of my cyclo-90, I used the fat loss menu plans from CycloFuel, my nutrition package, 3 times. Now, I'll admit I didn't get a lot of weight loss during the off-season, mostly because I brew beer, and although I'll do the fat loss menu plans and the high-intensity training, yeah, I was drinking a lot more beer. And I don't apologize for that. I think if I'm going to lose weight and get fit, I'm not going to give up all the things that I like. I've done that. I've been down that road. I've done the bodybuilding shit. I've done the restrictive calorie, restrictive diet stuff. I'm good. That's not fun. And you know what? It backlashes every time. I've been able to maintain and continue to drop weight because I haven't given up beer, because I haven't given up pizza, because I haven't given up steak. I'm not going to give those things up. What I'll do is structure them differently into my training and nutrition to yield better results without having to forego having things that I enjoy. And hopefully you're the same way. Once I finished with that, I moved into the maintenance phase, the boring part of CycloFuel nutrition, for basically the past 3 months. Now, during that, I did one simple thing, though. I began to deplete calories, about 300 to 450 calories per day. Now, I don't count calories, and I don't recommend counting calories unless you want to. I eyeball my food. I've been eating my entire life. I know what eating a lot is, and I know what eating a little is, okay? And if you don't, then you need to practice. And maybe I can help you with CycloFuel if you don't have it, but I'll help you understand portioning, rationing, and getting your body to become like an engine, so it's constantly metabolizing calories as opposed to storing calories. See the big difference? By removing only 300 to 400 calories a day on average, I'm creating a small deficit. A big deficit? No. A small deficit. Most of the time during the initial phases, I was removing those calories in ride. I was doing more depletion rides March, April, and into May. Depletion rides. Again, you can go back to other videos and learn about that. All it means is simply removing in-ride calories. So if I go out for a 4-hour ride, instead of having 600 calories of intake, I only had 300 calories of intake. Now, granted, it's not going to be a very high-performance ride, but it creates a metabolic stimulus to help me begin to expedite more body fat loss. You can't do that every ride, and again, go back to prior videos of mine, you'll learn more about that technique, but that definitely helped. I had a couple rides per week, and I still do, where I would have no food at all, first thing in the morning, out and either doing a high-intensity trainer session up in my studio, doing one of my HIIT 30 workouts, doing a quick run, which I'll talk about here in a second, or going out for a longer ride. No food coming in. I'd only do that a couple times per week, and I would have in-ride fuel. I would have in-ride eating, but I would be void of food prior. A couple times per week, typically after my HIIT 30 sessions, I would remove food post-workout 30 to 40 minutes, meaning removing the post-workout glycogen reload bubble that I know many of us have been conditioned to focus on. These things are great, but when weight loss is a priority, which it has been, every now and then, not every time, but every now and then, removing those calories temporarily allows your body to expedite more growth hormone secretion. And again, go back to prior videos. I'll talk to you about why that's of value to you. Now, the past 4 weeks, this is interesting. Pay attention here. This is important. The past 4 weeks, 6 weeks actually, I've been following the performance menu plans from CycloFuel. It comes with 3 different plans: fat loss, maintenance, and performance. Okay, and you can oscillate and rotate those plans, and it shows you how in the guide on how to rotate the food to get a different type of result. Now, because I've been in a performance endurance state, you might think that to continue to lose all this extra weight, I've got to remove more calories. That's not what I did. I maintained status quo with my calories, and actually what I did here is by moving into the performance plan and without giving away too much of my secrets within CycloFuel, basically, I maintained or dropped protein and I increased carbohydrate load. Now that's awkward. That's a little bit different than I'm normally used to lose weight. Why did I do that? Well, I had so much demand the past 6 weeks on my training, I mean exorbitant demand of stress, that preserving lean body tissue became priority. And ironically, the best way to do that is not by just eating mounds and mounds of protein, but more importantly, to maintain your protein intake and increase your carbohydrate load from complex carbohydrates and vegetables. That allows my body to replace glycogen faster, and that glycogen helps me preserve more lean body tissue. And by doing that, you keep your metabolism higher, and you get yourself into a state of body fat loss. Now, the only way that that works is if you're already close to or getting ready for your idyllic body weight goal. If you're 20 pounds away from that, that tactic won't work. The fat loss or maintenance phase is going to be more appropriate for you during that time. Are you following me? So as the intensity gets at its zenith, you can't be in a fat loss or maintenance nutrition phase. You have to be actually eating more food to maintain the engine's high velocity. If you don't do that, your body's going to shut down, your metabolism's going to shut down, you're not going to get the weight loss or performance gains you're looking for. Did you hear me? That's an invaluable tip, okay? Don't starve yourself when you're at your zenith of performance. In fact, you want to increase the amount of food that you're eating, preferably from complex carbohydrates, clean complex carbohydrates, non-processed. I've had a lot of potatoes lately. I mean, a lot of potatoes. I like potatoes. Normally, maintenance and fat loss, I'm not eating potatoes almost at all. But during performance, I've been eating a whole shitload of them. That's been allowing me to maintain that muscle glycogen and allowing me to continue to make my engine run hot. But again, it only works at a specific time after you've done the other stuff. Last quick tip here on nutrition. I've been taking branched chain amino acids, which I've told you about many times in years past, during this last 6 weeks. That means that every couple hours I'm taking 2 to 3 branched chain amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, valine. These are essential with maintaining basically your blood circulating amino acids, important amino acids for your muscles and repair. Because during this state, I want to preserve the lean body tissue I've worked so hard to create, and because I'm in a small caloric deficit from my training, I don't want to sacrifice that. That's allowed me to really help expedite the weight loss. Now, 3 last quick tips, and again, I know it's been a long video, but hopefully it's been of tremendous value, or you can come back and watch it again. 3 other things that I think really helped me out big time with the weight loss, especially the last 5 pounds. Running once per week. This is when I got into it in triathlon back in 2011. I've installed the running for the past 3 months, once per week, typically between 5 miles of high intensity and up to 8 or 10 miles of trail running. One of the values of that is, number one, it stimulates different muscles, which is imperative. Huge bump up of my cycling performance for my runs. In fact, I'd say it's on par with my cyclo-core training. So if you are a runner or used to be a runner, is it mandatory? No, but it sure does help. Second thing is that running, I won't lie, running just strips my body of weight, and it does for most people. The upside is that it's really metabolically active in performance. The downside is that for a lot of us, it's just too muscle damaging. So that's why I only do it once per week. I know people that get addicted to it, do it 2, 3, 4 times per week, and although they're going to see some initial weight loss, they get that body so beat up that when they get back on the bike, they're not seeing the strength that they want. And again, keep the end game in mind. I don't just want to be lighter. I want to be lighter and stronger, as do you. Second thing, the cyclo-iron training, which I mentioned earlier. I've been actually doing typically 2 rounds of cyclo-iron training per week in place of my prior Core 2.0 workouts. I've been doing these a lot of times after I finish my rides. Now, I told you that typically the cyclo-iron workouts, the kettlebell workouts, should be done in seclusion, meaning by themselves on off days from the bike. And for most of you, that's the best recommendation, especially when you first begin. They're tough 15 to 20 minute workouts. They are. They're not easy at all. I'm going to kick the shit out of you, okay? But with a good purpose and plan on why. As you get more advanced, you can start to install these workouts pre or ideally post-ride. What that forces you to do is become strong after you've blown out your endurance. If I come back from a 3-hour ride and do a cyclo-iron 15-minute workout, I just multiplied and quantified my training and stimulus, which is the whole key here, by double in 15 minutes. And that really helped expedite my metabolism. And I would be literally sweating buckets like 3-4 hours later after a normal endurance ride. And that's coming from the cyclo-iron inclusion. Okay? Now, last thing, and I have to bring this up, is that I was just recently sick. So that helped with probably the last 2 or 3 pounds. But I want to let you know, I actually dropped down to about 159 while I was sick. I was on the toilet all the time, to be frank. So yeah, that helped lose weight. I'm not saying go out and get yourself sick, go get yourself the flu. But during the taper week, which was just last week, I did get ill. My wife's unfortunately ill right now as well. So it sucks. Again, don't go and try to get yourself the flu to lose weight. However, I want to let you know that all that did was just basically force my body into a state of recovery. Meaning it forced me off the bike, it forced me from my training, it forced me from everything, including the inability to drink beer. So I'm not going to lie, that did help a little bit. But my weight did bounce back up afterwards. Again, your body's going to get replenished. Stay focused on the end game of building that strength and performance. Again, I know it's been a little bit of a long video, but I think you're going to go back and watch each step of what I went through again. If you're not using some of my programs and you're interested in doing so, this is not to pitch you, but to assist you if you're struggling with your weight loss, your performance, your climbing, your endurance, or all of the above. I've got a whole list of different training and nutrition specials of all the stuff that I just went over, step by step, between 20 and 80% off. All the different training systems, Cyclo 90 programs, available to you to use. This is a sale that I have going on while I'm away for British Columbia. I hope that you can use the materials to your advantage. I hope you can use this video to your advantage, whether you're a customer of mine or not. I hope that you can use some of these tips to your advantage. Until we speak again, I've got a video that I'm filming for all of my bike gear before I pack it up for tomorrow to leave with me for BC. I think you're going to really enjoy that video as well. If you've got any comments or questions, leave them below. I can't get them to them right away. I've got thousands of you that watch, so I'll talk to you soon.